Hello my lovely little weasels, it is me your host the Gaming Weasel, and for today I have a juicy top 10 Warframes for 2024 inside a steel path for you guys. Now these are 10 Warframes that are all amazing in their own special way, so number 1 is not better than number 10. These are 10, I guess you could say maybe conventional and also unconventional Warframes for a top 10 list. These are Warframes that I personally tested out and played for many hours and many different builds. The actual builds for the Warframes are in the up there or in the description down below, because I don't want to make this video around 30 to 40 minutes long because it doesn't make any sense. I'll quickly brief over the Warframes. The builds will pop up for the corresponding Warframe, and also the Archon shards, because I was stupid enough to not record them on the actual Warframes, will be basically mentioned by me if there's any sort of important or my best recommendation for Archon shards for that corresponding Warframe. So that is just so you know. I hope you guys enjoyed the list. I hope you like it. Hope you like the Warframes. They're very interesting in my honest opinion. And I will see you guys, of course, later on in the video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Let's move on to the number 10 to Warframe. And at number 10, we have a Hydroid. Hydroid is a Warframe since its rework I have been playing a lot of. Hydroid is extremely amazing at armor shipping enemies, crowd controlling enemies, giving you extra loot, and also with the Gloom subsumed onto his second with this build that I'm using, you will be able to survive as well and gain a lot of energy. Now, the build has a lot of synergies with the companion as well, and honestly the weapons are pretty much not that important, but he does have 3 green Archon shards that are gonna give him extra power strength, 4 corrosive, and the other one's giving additional 2 extra corrosive stacks, totaling out at 14. Because you apply a lot of corrosive, you're gonna be armor stripping a lot. One of the best weapons they use with him is the Latron Prime Incarnate, because that also armor strips. You can basically armor strip everywhere, everything, and all over the place, or you could just use any AoE weapon that you want. It is pretty much going to be a good option as well. I use the Bubonico, which is very good for him because it kills a lot of enemies. But moving on to the number 9th Warframe, we have Zaku. Now, I have been trying so many things with Zaku, but it seems that his base build with his base abilities works completely fine. He has armor stripping, he has crowd controlling, he has absorbent amounts of damage, incredible amounts of damage with his void damage with his first and second ability active. If you paired him with a good weapon, you're pretty much going to survive without any issue. As you may see sort of in the gameplay, if you're paying attention, I'm playing without rolling guard in this actual moment, but the build does show rolling guard, and I don't have to use it once because Zaku, with the combination with the companion and everything, gets a lot of health and can regenerate his shield incredibly fast. Plus, because of his fourth and the dodge chance, makes it much easier. He is a stationary Warframe. I definitely do recommend you play him stationary. Maybe with a certain build he can also move around and be really good, but I haven't found that. But if someone has a suggestion, leave it in the comment section below. Nonetheless, number 9, Zaku, an amazing Warframe. And at number 8, we have one of the recent Warframes that I made a video on. It is Wisp. Wisp has slowly become one of my favorite go-to Warframes for fast missions and really difficult missions. She has crowd controlling, damage multiplication, basically nuking capabilities, which breach surge, and also instead of her fourth ability, if you put in Nourish, you will do a lot of damage, and you're also going to be gaining energy, and you're also going to be gaining a lot of viral damage. Now, the weapon that I recommend here is honestly going to be a high damage dealing weapon. The one that I used is the Strun Incarnate, and I think that is an amazing weapon for this Warframe, but you can definitely choose whatever one you want. As we all know, the Turret Incarnate is in the game, and you can pretty much nuke everything just with that. But moving on to the number 7 Warframe, which can also sort of nuke it, is going to be Protea. Now, Protea is a Warframe that is basically perfect in every single sense. She just needs one thing, and that's crowd controlling through Ensnare instead of her fourth ability. With this active, Blaze Artillery and the Grenade Fans will decimate everything. You can basically use whatever weapon you want or just not even use it with her. Honestly, she is that good. This build hasn't changed from this later video, even though it is an old video, so keep that in mind when you click the little eye up there, but this Warframe is just incredibly amazing at crowd controlling, surviving as well, gaining a lot of energy, keeping in mind that almost none of these Warframes have Arcane Energize equipped, except a couple of Warframes, but you're going to be pretty much self-sustaining with every single Warframe, and with the Protea, and dispensary especially. And now, moving on to one of my favorite Warframes, it is Gauss and Gauss Prime. He is our newest Prime in the game, and he definitely came in hot. His abilities and his build that I made for him, I am tremendously happy about. You can survive Steel Path without any issues. You can basically armor strip and nuke enemies at the same time, run around fast like a madman, and also buff up your attack speed, reload speed, and also fire rate, and basically unlock, I guess, your full potential of Gauss through Redline, his fourth ability, making him honestly one of the best Warframes for any sort of fast mission. If you want to do Steel Path extermination missions or capture missions, anything, he is incredibly good at that, and survival as well. Kinetic plating does help out a lot with saving you a lot of the time and gaining a butt ton of energy. But let's talk about shields, and the fifth Warframe is gonna be Mesa. Mesa with Pillage is one of my best builds that I've made, and I'm honestly the happiest about this build. Subsume Pillage instead of her first ability, and then using Shattering Shield to basically survive everything. Don't let the enemy get close, and use your Peacemakers to shoot the enemies down, and you are pretty much set to clear rooms like there's no tomorrow. Using Mesa's Volts, her augment is gonna allow you to move around as well in her fourth ability, which is amazing, and I think we all want that. And then number 4, we have Mag. Mag is a Warframe that I have been playing a lot, definitely a lot of, and I've been enjoying her even more by the day. She can armor ship enemies, she can basically nuke enemies, especially if you have Breach Surge like I do instead of her first ability, and she can also basically crowd control enemies, gain a lot of energy. This Warframe also basically does everything. Magnetized Discharge and Fraction Crush are one of the 2 best augments you could possibly have, and also basically allowing you to use Polarize, and also her fourth ability to basically recharge shields and gain over shields as well, basically infinitely with a lot of energy, is really nice. And Breach Surge and Fracturized Crush pair well incredibly, and especially the crowd controlling feature of her second ability. Now her third Warframe is gonna be Seren. Yes, Seren is of course gonna be on this list. Seren is an amazing Warframe, and especially with this quite interesting dual Ichor Toxin, I guess, armor stripping Seren that I have here. Now this Warframe is, I think everybody knows what Seren does: summons spores and then basically kills and nukes enemies. Well, not, I guess, nukes them, but damage over time, I guess, and crowd controlling. But with this build, you're able to make, I guess, a toxin cloud that basically travels with enemies and also kills them at the same time, because they're armor stripped, because I use green Archon shards, and I recommend you do, so you can gain more corrosive stacks, armor strip the enemies 100%, and be done with it, and kill them with toxin. And it's also really good against the Corpus enemies, or I guess corrupted Corpus as well, so that's very cool, and you can pretty much just play around with this build. This is actually one of my best Netra Cell running Warframes, so definitely a recommendation from me. Our second Warframe is going to be our princess, the damage queen, the loot queen. It is Cora. Yes, Cora is our fourth Warframe, and I think it is pretty much self-explanatory why Cora is here. She has loot, she has almost infinite energy and health, survivability pretty much to the same standard, damage that is honestly not even comprehensible, a lot of damage. You're gonna be insta killing almost everything other than, I guess, overguarded Corpus, or I guess Eximus units, and that's gonna be the only thing. Pretty much acolytes, when they appear, they're gonna disappear instantaneously the first second you use Whip Claw. Also crowd controlling with Ensnare, which is very good, and you can do also additional damage, and Ensnare works on acolytes as well, so that is a very cool ability. Now, before we move on to the first Warframe, I do want to make some honorable mentions. Revenant. Revenant is a Warframe that is basically made to survive Steel Path. He has a second ability, Mesmer Skin. He can survive everything. The second Warframe, honorable mention, is going to be Octavia. Octavia is, in my opinion, incredibly good. She's amazing. She can kill everything, amazing scaling damage, just invincible, or I guess invincible, sort of in that way, but very boring to play. You activate your 4 abilities, wait, activate, and do the same thing over and over again. She gets quite boring after a while, but she is amazing. Also, some other Warframes that I've been testing out this year, Styanax is really good. Then we have Citrine, the Gath is very nice as well, and I do love using, on occasion, Varuna. She can be very nice inside of the game as well. And that is pretty much for the honorable mentions. And now the number 1 Warframe is gonna be Kalervo. Now, this is sort of just a tiny teensy bit bias. I made my best build that I think I've ever made, and I will ever make for Warframe in Kalervo. Kalervo, I made a game-breaking build where I still glitch out till this day when you spam his first ability. With his first ability, you gain critical chance, and you can do a heavy attack that will do a lot of damage. Pair that with the ceramic daggers in Cornin form, where you basically launch projectiles. You have a Baruch, but much better, in my opinion, with much better survivability because of his second ability, allowing you to basically gain infinite amounts of overguard through any sort of period, and every single time. He is my main Orcon hunt killing Warframe, or I guess Orcon killing Warframe, for natural cells as well, steel pot survival, but I don't use him because he's really OP. A lot of red Orcon shards, you could have probably guessed, so keep that in mind. Also on Korra, if I didn't mention it, I'm very sorry, but this Warframe is incredibly good with a ceramic dagger. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend you click the little eye up there and check out why Kalervo's in the first spot and why this build will get even better with time, and I will show you that one day when I work on him a little bit more. But that has been my top 10 list for my top 10 Warframes for 2024. Dante, I have no idea how he's going to turn out. He seems pretty good, so I guess we'll see when that comes out. I'll talk about him when it does. So, subscribe down there, click that little button. It's completely free, and being a weasel I think is pretty cool. I like being one, so you might as well. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, do leave a like, and also comment down below on what you think of the Warframes. I know some people are going to comment, why is my Warframe number 10? I explained it. This has been the Gaming Weasel, over and out.